Welcome to the Astro Forecast for the week of November 28th to December 4th. We are stepping into the last month of the year, y'all. Like, where did it go? Where did it go? I don't know. It's been so fast. So as we step into this week, it is a first quarter moon phase, meaning we are fresh off that new moon in Sagittarius, and the moon is gaining in light. And as I was writing the forecast for this week, I was kind of aware of a few kind of frustrating aspects. So this week is going to be, I'm going to say, filled with some frustration, but also moments of clarity, moments of like wisdom and nuggets of gold throughout this week. So look for those nuggets of gold and notice where things were happening for you, right? Where you are noticing what's happening around you and what's happening inside you, right? This is all bringing up awareness. Now, it's interesting, as I was writing out this forecast, I was also aware that it's a bit of a higher concept in astrology, but I'm going to explain it to you now because it is also a reason why you might be feeling frustrated. So Mars, the planet of motivation, desire, passion, the way that we move forward in the world, our egoic will to do. So it is passion, this sexuality, it is drive or motivation, as I mentioned. That's all Mars. And Mars is in Gemini. So Gemini is a very changeable sign. It's a sign where it has duality. It's extroverted and introverted. It's very curious. It's mutable air. It's intellect that goes wherever it desires. And it follows its curiosity. That is Gemini, right? Mars in Gemini is curious, motivation, going in all different directions. It can be very scattered, but it can also be, you're almost kind of going down the rabbit hole and you don't know where it's going, right? And so you're having all these wonderful experiences along the way. It's retrograde. So retrograde meaning we're not meant to move forward. We're not meant to act on these desires. They're meant to just literally bring up awareness and curiosity, and also understanding what is our passion and our motivation now in this time of our life. Now, Mars is retrograde from October to January. So it's a long time for it to be in this very mutable, changeable sign of Gemini. But he's also out of bounds. So he's been out of bounds since October, since about around Halloween, and will be out of bounds until May 6th. That's a long time for Mars to be out of bounds. So Mars out of bounds means that when a planet is moving around through the solar system around the sun, we sort of just assume that planets move around along the equator, right? So we're kind of along that equatorial line out into space, and that is not the case. Planets wobble in their axis, so they wobble above and they wobble below that equator line. So on the Earth, we have the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, which are 23 degrees and 27 minutes above the equator and 23 degrees and 27 minutes below the equator. And that's kind of considered the line in which we feel like things are within societies, like it's normal range, if you will. So if you're born with your planets in that normal range, then it's good. But if you have your planets outside that 23 degrees and 27 minutes, like right now, Mars is out of bounds, and that is considered sort of rogue, outside the purview of society. So a really wonderful example of this is Freddie Mercury from Queen, right? Freddie Mercury was born with a Venus out of bounds, and I believe a Mercury out of bounds as well. His voice was like something ahead of his time, right? In his time, people thought it was a bit weird. Now it's like he's legendary. Same thing with the way that he dressed. He was very flamboyant, and he liked very interesting, eclectic outfits that now, again, ahead of his time, right? So Mars is out of bounds right now. It's outside the purview of society, meaning that our energy is like wild. We feel like excited, and then we feel like, it almost feels manic, right? And it just is like the energy is stopping and starting, stopping and starting. So during this time, it's really a time of, I would say, increased intuition, not intuition. It's a gift. It's a gift. It's increased creativity. So Mars in Gemini, outside the purview of society, is sort of being really curious to follow that intellectual kind of wild, winding road to see where does it lead you, to really be willing to go on the adventure of the mind, in essence, and just follow the path as it goes along, not committing to anything at this time. But I mean, of course, we're still living life. It's not like you can't commit to anything until May, but really it's about, can you find that thing within you that really lights you up. Like there was something I recently signed up for and it was like a hell yes, like yes, this is going to be an amazing 2023 and this is what's going to get me there and I'm signed up for this. Like that was a hell yes. That's not going to change. And I sat with it for 24 hours to make sure it didn't change. And I went with it. So I still made decisions. Will I regret it later? No, I don't think so. I don't regret this one. I feels like a hell yes to me. So when you see that hell yes coming up for you, yeah, jump on board. And if you're not, it's a little easier to do when you're kind of working for yourself, in essence. But no, even then, I was, someone was waiting on an answer from me, and I was like, I just need to sit on it for a minute. Just sit on it for a minute, and my answer was no, because it didn't light me up. So that's that Mars energy. What are you motivated for? Why are you making the decisions that you are? Why are you spending the money that you are? Because this week that is going to be a theme. So Venus and Mercury are sitting together and going through the zodiac together at this point in time. And Mercury is going to start to slow down because it's going to go retrograde at the end of December. So they're going to start to separate. But what's happening right now, they're moving close together and they're at the same degree. So as I'm talking to you now, Venus and Mercury have moved into Sagittarius. That's optimism, adventure, kind of gregarity, jolly, happy times. It's a good energy. It's fire, but it can't go anywhere because this Mars is retrograde, right? So what's happening is everything that happens to one happens to the other. And this week we have two squares in opposition to Mercury and Venus that is going to sort of make us a little confused or frustrated or both this week. So just keeping that in mind when you feel frustrated or you're coming up against other people that feel frustrated or angry or irritated or confusing, it's going to pass. It's going to pass. This is just coming up now for us to glean some extra information from everything for an opportunity. So let's get started. Monday, November 28th, we're starting first quarter phase of the moon, and we have Mars trine to Saturn. So this aspect, remember, Mars is retrograde in Gemini. So this is an aspect where we're feeling really responsible. We want to get things done, get things sorted. And this motivation, so Saturn is about responsibility, Mars is about passion, drive. So this is a great time to persevere, to take on tasks, ambition, fortitude, strength. These are these two aspects together. Great for cleaning clutter out, cleaning out the stuff that doesn't belong to you anymore, cleaning out your house, getting ready for Christmas if that's something you celebrate. Really even creating your Christmas list. That would be a good one. Creating your task list. That's a bit good energy for this. Now, on the same day, we have Venus in conjunct to Uranus, and in conjuncts are a kink in the energy, a need for adjustment. So Venus is what we love and value, and Uranus is about upheaval, change, your effervescence, your uniqueness. And we're feeling like those two things aren't connecting very well. So this can feel like we want to break free from our restraints. We might not feel like in our relationships that we're being really given the freedom to do the things that we want to do, or feeling tied down or stifled. We can feel like our money, we can be really frustrated with our money story because we want to do all these things. Taurus, money, spend our money. Venus in Sagittarius wants to do all the things. You want to commit to all the courses, you want to spend all the money, you want to go on the adventure, you want to take the trip, and you can't. So that's that feeling stifled, feeling like, oh, I want to do all the things. This can be a really great energy, though, to kind of dig into what do you want and then how can you plan to get there, because that Mars trine to Saturn is going to help you get what you want, but you got to play the long game. This isn't about the fast, payoff that Sagittarius wants. This is about the long game and sort of going, okay, what do I need to do to get this? So let's say you want to go on a trip and you're feeling like the funds aren't there. Okay, maybe you have a jar and you put $20 in that jar every week. I don't know how you do it, but you do it. $20 every week until finally you can afford to go to Banff or go to Vegreville. I don't know what you want to do, but we'll go somewhere where you can afford to just go on a vacation, and you're saving up that jar. Slow and steady, small wins lead to big dreams. So that's Monday. Tuesday, we have, now here's the first of these oppositions. Mars is going to make an opposition first to Mercury and then to Venus. So on Tuesday, Mercury is opposite Mars. Now, when Mercury is opposite Mars, mind versus our energy are opposite. They're pulling on each other. We're trying to find a balance between the two. We feel frustrated. We want to move ahead, but people aren't on board. And like this, actually, as I'm talking about, I got this image of like, you have all the ideas, Sagittarius, big ideas, big inspiration, but people are like, well, that's not going to happen. Who do you think you are? I don't think so. Have you considered this? Sagittarius is like big ideas and Gemini is small details. So it's Gemini is feeling like they can't get the details right. So they're stifling the Sages, right? Sagittarius Mercury wants to go and do, has big picture thinking, opportunities, abundance. And Gemini Mars is like, but really? How are we going to do that? How? How are you going to make $1 million? How are you going to get the car? How are you going to be in the relationship when you got all this? So it's a bit of a killer. It's a mood killer, right? I mean, it's killing your vibe and it sucks, but it's going to help you drill down on details for things. Capricorn season will be much better for that. That's coming December 21st. So we got time yet. So please don't feel like you got to have everything all figured out. But this can feel like frustration, like you can't go as fast as you want. And other people are trying to bring you down with details. They're not trying to bring you down. They're just reminding you about some things that need to happen in order to manifest the thing you want. And this is not a day to share your big dreams with people who are not on board with your big dreams or who are going to kill the vibe with all these detail things. Just not at this point in time. The details are needed. Yes, that's going to come about. Yes, that's that Mars retrograde energy. You can't have everything right now. I know you want it. I want it. I want it. I'm feeling it. And it's kind of frustrating. And I got to release timelines. That's what this Gemini Mars is, releasing timelines and allowing yourself to just be in the inspiration, have the details come together. Every day you're getting clarity, clarity, clarity to where you want to go. So challenges to your ambition, sharp mind, sharp tongue as well. So be careful who you're saying what to and that temper flaring, because it can be flaring now, that fire. Right? Arguments as well. Just go slow. It's okay. I know you hate it. I hate it too. We're going to have to do it. On this same day, it's going to add a little bit more fuel to the fire, is Mercury is sextile to Saturn. And that sextile to Saturn is Mercury, sextile to Saturn. This is like, we want to be responsible. We want to do the right thing. We want to be, clear-minded, sound judgment, discipline, big ideas that help others. Like, we're here to do the work. And people are like, what? You don't have all the details together. Like, oh, you can see how they're frustrating, right? Because this Mercury sextile to Saturn is filling Mercury with this feeling of like idealism. I got this, right? Sagittarius can be idealistic when it's turned up so loud. Like, this is conceptually a wonderful idea. And then you're like, but in reality, can it be no? So that's the energy on Tuesday. It's sort of feeling like you're not really getting ahead, but you have all the ideas, you have all the inspiration, you feel like you're doing it with the right part of your heart and it's not working. This is a great to sort of, you want to initiate, but it's just not the right time just yet. So great energy for organizing, putting together your plans and really getting down into the details of things, just not doing it. It's not doing yet. So if you're feeling frustrated in that, it's not the right time. You're subscribing to the wrong timelines. Thursday, December 1st to the 1st of the month, we have 3 aspects on this day. So one is Venus is opposite to Mars. So remember the day on on Tuesday, Mercury and Venus are moving together. So now 2 days later, Venus is going to be exactly opposite Mars. But this aspect of opposition is going to be in place for the whole week. So don't feel like, oh, it's just today. No, it's like all week, this frustration. So now Venus opposite Mars is like, you can't get what you want, right? You want to spend the money, but you have no. You want to do the things, but you have no things. You want to be in a relationship, but there's no men or women or whoever is your preference, right? We're wanting to, again, initiate, but we're not getting what we want, right? Venus is what we want. It's our values, it's our desires, and Mars is our desires, So it's interesting that these two are opposite each other. There's a pull between the two. We feel like we got to balance the two. So when you balance the two, you get some strong insights into what you value and what your motivation is, why you want to get what you get. That's this whole week, is why you believe in and what are your values, and are those actually putting you in the place that you are wanting to go, right? Is it your motivation really taking into account your beliefs and your values, or your beliefs and values holding you back from where you want to go because you think you're not worthy, or you believe that rich people are yucky or unethical. So, how do you want all the money when you feel like those people aren't good? You're just not going to be good. You're just going to lose the money because you don't feel people who have money are good people and you're a good person. So you start to see how this week is helping you to heal this, right? So this opposition, strong insights into your values and desires and motivations, can be sexual tension, powerful lessons about relationship, beauty, money. All of those things are Venus related. So we start to see this, right? I'm going to say Thursday is probably going to be the roughest day of the week. So because we also have a Mercury square to Neptune. So Neptune is the fog, and Mercury is still, Neptune is still retrograde in Pisces. He will be going direct on Saturday, but right now is retrograde. And this Neptune retrograde is making us feel like we can't trust ourselves. We're not really sure. We have intuition, we have spirituality. Those are Neptune things, compassion, empathy, all that lovely divine goodness is in Neptune's realm. And we're not sure about it. We might feel like confused and foggy. And Mercury square to Neptune means that we aren't sure if we're thinking what we're thinking is right. So this can be gossip, right? People misunderstanding you. You're trying your hardest and they're like, I just don't understand. Or why would you think that? And you're like, what are you talking about? So this is a really great day for active listening and checking to make sure. So active listening means, this is what I heard you say. Does that make sense? No, that's not what I said. Okay, tell me what you said. So it's really like actively checking, is this what you said? Because this is what I heard, right? From love, from a place of just clarity. There's no judgment involved. You're just trying to check to make sure that what you heard is right. So sometimes when you're in an argument and somebody says something, they're like, did you just say? Yes, I did say what I said. And then there you go. So you're just checking for clarity. It's active listening. So this can confuse and complicate big ideas, which is not great because you're getting big ideas right now with the Sagittarius things. Also, business discussions can also be complicated and misleading. Problems concentrating, issues with communication, emails also going awry, texting going awry. This is almost like a Mercury retrograde. So really checking where you're sending your texts to, where you're sending your emails to, who you're talking what about, and do not talk smack about anyone this time, really anytime. But now more than ever, there's so much delusion, gossip, stretching the truth. Be careful what you are saying, right? If you're committing to something because you think, do all the things, or they're never going to come back and ask me, they're going to come back and ask you with this. Okay. So just be careful. It distorts your thinking. And then also on this day, a really lovely aspect, but again, I feel like it heightens the other two, is it's Venus sextile to Saturn. So remember, there was Mercury sextile to Saturn on Tuesday. Now Venus is turned to sextile Saturn. Strong social connections, being considerate, responsible, idealistic, about situations. You might feel like you think the best of people. You really want to help and take responsibility. And then they're like, well, but no, we don't want you. Or I don't think your intentions are all that, above board. And you're like, but they are, right? There's that opposition to Mars and that square to Neptune. We're just feeling like we're just not going to be able to get ahead on this day, or feeling judged, or there's perceptions about you that you can't control. Just take a breath. Just take a breath. That day, this week is not the time to confront those things. Next week, we'll have more clarity. Just don't do those, don't have deep conversations about misunderstandings on this day, on Thursday or Friday, or even this week. I would say not a good time. Also, not a good time with this Neptune energy and the squares and oppositions to make big investments or make big decisions. Big decisions during Mars retrograde, a little bit difficult because your motivation isn't clear. But during this square to Neptune, opposition to Mars, not a good time to make big purchases, make big decisions, make life-altering changes to your relationships as well. Not a good time, Venus. Saturday, December 3rd, we have Neptune going direct in Pisces. Neptune is always, it feels like is always retrograde. I mean, he goes retrograde 160 days at a time, so that's quite a bit. He's been retrograde since June 28th, 2022, and now December 3rd, he's direct. Now, Neptune direct, whenever a planet is changing direction, so meaning he's speeding up or slowing down, they are speeding up or slowing down, they have a propensity to be intensified on the day that they are changing direction. So this day especially can be full of misunderstandings. You're second guessing yourself. You have intuitive hits, but then you're like, you might be wrong, or you feel like you were wrong and then you didn't trust it and then you found out you were right, all that kind of stuff. Just a lot of confusion. This also can make you super trusting, or also trusting the wrong people. Not a great day to sign any agreements, make big investments, buy a car, none of that stuff. Don't do it on this day. Just give it a few days before it starts to gain momentum. It's going to be more than a few days, but Saturn's a very slow planet. So Neptune. I'm going through a Mercury transit right now. Like the words coming out of my mouth don't match the ones in my head. So I am trying my best right now. It feels like with a half a brain. And I'm sure this is part of that Mars Gemini retrograde energy. So no big decisions or investments here. Neptune protects us from harsh realities and allows us to dream and vision. So, when you have really bad news at the beginning and you kind of go into denial, and you're like, no, or I can't believe it, or I don't want to believe it, that's Neptune supporting and protecting you. It's also your brain giving you space to breathe, right? So Neptune is about visions, dreaming, spirit, intuition, higher knowledge, connection to the divine, religions, philosophies. All those lovely, beautiful things are religious philosophies, anyways, are Neptune's realm. Right. And Neptune rules Pisces, which he is in. So this wonderful time is a time of faith. It's time of intuition, visioning. You can even feel like doing like meditations or hypnosis. This is not a good time to take any kind of drugs. Any kind of, like, even with meds, you can be very sensitive to it. Okay. So, I mean, I'm not sanctioning the use of drugs, but even if you do like recreational drugs that are legal wherever you live, this is a time now where you're very, very sensitive to it. So we might even see more overdoses during this time as well, which is unfortunate. Neptune is a planet of delusion, of escapism, of addictions as well. So this is a time when, if you're finding yourself running to medicate yourself with food or drink or alcohol, things like that. Drink is alcohol, I guess. But anything that numbs you out, right? Pot, even, that is the realm of Neptune. So noticing where you're doing that, increased creativity, imagination, tendency to daydream, uncertainty, and confusion can be on this day. So Neptune going direct is great for us to really use our intuition and forward momentum with our spirituality. And I actually prefer Neptune retrograde myself. But yes, this deeper understanding of our own truth is what happens when he's retrograde. So now, as we have this deeper understanding of how we work, or how our intuition works, or our own spirituality, now it is time to use that knowledge out into the world and act on it. But not for a week anyways. Just take your time with that. And then Sunday, December 4th, we have Venus squared in Neptune. This can be delusion in relationships, where we feel like we thought someone was there for us and we weren't, or we think that they're talking about us behind our back, or this could feel like confusion if your partner is like serving you papers. You're like, what happened? I thought we were going good. Also with regards to money, this is a time now to be really smart with your money, and also download a money app that sort of a credit score app that watches your credit score. So I use Credit Karma, credit with a C, karma with a K. That really helps you to see and monitor your credit rating and see what is open under your name and what has been closed. It's a pretty cool app, actually. It was recommended to me by a bank rep, actually, so that you could see if someone was opening a credit card under your name. And it can show you, like, if you had student loans, they're closed out. It can show you all the things you've ever applied for on there. And then it monitors your credit score. So every time your credit score goes up or down, you get a notification. And then if you like pay your bills on time, you get little like, hey, you're on a paying bills streak kind of thing. So it's meant to really make you feel good about your money. So someone like me who's working on my money story, I love that app because it gives me another layer of protection. And your resources, like insecurities, impressions can be distorted now. Things around money, beauty, aesthetic, feeling like maybe your insecurities, as I mentioned, disappointment in your love life, over idealizing someone or something, lack of discipline, indulgence, escapism also. So this is going to be a time where this whole week you're going to be getting strong insights into your beliefs and values as it relates to your motivations and desires. Get curious. Start to ask the question, I wonder why this is happening. Wonder what this reminds me of. Where did this start in my life? Just starting to get curious. This Mars Gemini is bringing us the gift of curiosity, right? And introspection and going deeper down that rabbit hole of where did this start and how is this working for me now? And what do I want to do with it now? Right? So don't get stuck in that this is happening. It's like, okay, what is this meant to teach me? And where do I want to take it? You know what I mean? Like you can move that energy. You don't have to just sit in it, but it is important to acknowledge it to begin with. You have to acknowledge it to heal it, right? What you resist persists. So you can see why I was saying this week is going to be a little challenging, and everything for an opportunity. There's nuggets of gold in here. There's lots of creative gold. There's lots of motivation gold in here. There's lots of feeling responsible. Maybe this is a great week to sort of tackle some, no, that square to Neptune's going to feel like your energy is being sapped. But early on in the week, you might have more of that motivation. So take that, energy. And with these oppositions to Mars, it's a good idea to work out, to get that frustration out of you. And so go for a brisk walk, go for a hike, go to the gym, run on a treadmill, take a boxing class, like that kind of energy, get it out of you, because if it sits inside of you, you can get fidgety, you can get frustrated, and you can start to take it out on the people around you. So wishing you a week of introspection, of creativity, of intuition that feels good for you, that you can follow that inner wisdom. And yeah, this week will end. This is the week of, some things and planet changing direction and these squares and oppositions, not making it easy. Don't make any big decisions. Don't talk out of school. It's a great time to listen. All right. Have a wonderful week. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. And we're in this together. So I love that so many of you say you come back to these astro forecasts when things aren't going so well. And you're like, oh, that's why I'm feeling that. And know that it is going to change. It is meant to happen to help us grow and evolve in some way so that we can get to the next stepping stone of our lives. So take it for what it's worth. Have a great week. Take care. Bye.